We're going to go over 3 year-end retirement tips or tricks that people need to be aware of.
Hello, my name's John Convery, and welcome to this very first edition of Retire with Coffee. Michael and I are delighted to bring this new version of our show, which used to be called Retire Yesterday, Live Today, here to you on YouTube to basically celebrate retiring with coffee. And you know, the holiday season is upon us now. If you look around at my ranch house, you'll see all these lovely, colorful poinsettias. The holiday decorations are starting to come out in full flourish and form, and it's going to be a lovely, lovely time of year here at the Kiln Dried Log Cabin. But Michael and I are going to start today Retire with Coffee, very first edition, talking to you about some very, very important things. So we're delighted you've decided to join us today.
Yes, absolutely. And John mentioned YouTube. We're also here with you on Facebook. And then if you go to johnconvery.com, you can watch all the old episodes of Retire Yesterday, Live Today, and all the new episodes of Retire with Coffee going forward. We got a very special show lined up today because we're going to go over 3 year-end retirement tips or tricks that people need to be aware of.
Right.
Starting with number 1, and that is a health savings account, because many people don't realize, 1, your health savings account kind of offers many sorts of tax benefits, and 2, you want to take a look at it at the end of the year to make sure you're good going into the beginning of the year.
That's right. There's 3 tax advantages to a health savings account. Number 1, you can deduct it from your current taxable income. Number 2, all the money, if well invested, will grow and grow tax deferred. And number 3, if you use the money for qualified unreimbursed medical expenses, it's entirely tax-free. And get this, if you're age 65 or older, you can use that money kind of like a backdoor Roth and spend the money even on indulgences, such as that Mediterranean cruise you always wanted to take for the Athens and the Croatia and the Santorini ports of call. You can use that money entirely tax-free. Now, here's the basic essence of this. You've got to look at, let's say you have Obamacare and Affordable Care, which is very unaffordable, I'm just saying. Let's say that you have one of the exchange healthcare programs and that your deductible is $7,200 a year. Well, if you put in that amount of money into a health savings account, that's going to lower your taxable income and be money that's designed to cover that shortfall or deficit, which is the difference between what you have to pay and where your insurance kicks in to start paying you for your health insurance benefits. So at the end of the day, really look at a health savings account to see if it might be something to suit you, particularly if you're anticipating unreimbursed medical expenses the next year, and if you could use the tax deduction this year, 2017.
Yes, take advantage, because like John said, that is essentially a triple or a trifecta tax benefit. We're going to go get into tip number 2, and that is something you talk about, Dad, a lot of times in your financial workshops or the workshops you do around the county, and that is, when it comes to the end of the year, figuring out ways to potentially defer your salary.
Defer income. You know, there's 457 deferred compensation plans. For those of you that work in the city of Palm Beach or a municipality, you may be able to participate in those programs and reduce your taxable income this year. You're incentivized to save that money truly for your own retirement. Now, if you don't have an employer-sponsored plan, under some circumstances, you may be able to set up your own salary deferrals, deferred compensation plan that is simply a way of kicking the can into next year or the year after. Now, why on earth would you want to consider that? Well, it's a great question. First of all, it looks like as we speak tonight, the Senate is going to come to some kind of agreement on tax reform. We'll see what the House does going forward. But if we get tax reform, the tax rate for you, my friend, is likely going to be lower next year. So why on earth would you want to pay tax this year if you can kick the can or punt until the next year and pay a lower rate of tax? So you've really got to look at these things, particularly if you fully funded your 401k and gotten your employer match first. Then you can look at these salary deferral plans to go beyond that and really get a huge trifecta advantage, as Michael talked about, with that triple tax advantage.
Yes, John, my dad is absolutely right. You want to take advantage of that triple tax advantage and defer your salary if you're going to pay less in taxes heading into next year. We are going to get in the last tip, and that is the third year-end retirement tip going forward into 2018, and that is simply to make sure you have your beneficiary designations in order, because many people don't even realize that if you change your beneficiaries, it's not going to carry over into your 401k. And the end of the year is really just a good time to kind of take care of that. I know Fernando in the office
Boo!
gets a lot of calls towards the end of the year, making sure those beneficiaries are in check.
Yeah, you got to make sure of that, folks, because a lot of people have a last will and testament, and let's say that you were married but divorced, you may have created a new will or codicil, and maybe you have a new life partner or married and a new marriage covenant. Well, the truth is you really need to go to your 401k plan administrator or your Fidelity IRA or whoever your provider is and make sure you update your beneficiary designations, because the rule is the beneficiary trumps the will. In other words, if there's incongruency or a conflict, guess which is going to win out? The beneficiary designation. You want to make sure that that is current. And you know what? Many people don't realize that because it's what we call a cross-check. Make sure that everything checks out. You have to make sure that there's no contradiction in your planning. And reviewing your beneficiary designation is a huge part towards getting things in good order for you and your loved ones going forward.
Yes, this has been 3 key end of the year retirement checkup tips. We're going to get out of the show in a few moments, but you have to like the show below if you want to keep it coming each and every week. So take a moment, like it on below. That way we know you're enjoying it. This is Retire with Coffee. We're going to teach you how to thrive in retirement, not just survive, over a cup of joe, be it morning, noon, or night. I'm going to let John close out the show as always. We will see you on Monday. Have a great weekend.
Folks, in the paraphrase of the old Irish prayer, may the wind be gently at your back, may the sun shine warmly on your face, and until our paths meet again, may God richly bless you and have a magnificent day. Goodbye now.